The video, we get very excited about our videos here, of course. Our next speaker is Vincent DeStefano. He'll be addressing the charges and rumors leveled at Julian Assange. Vincent is a graduate of UCLA, go Bruins. He's been deeply involved with progressive issues over the past 45 years. He's a member of the board of the Pasadena chapter of the ACLU of Southern California, and has worked on police reform as a member of the Coalition for Increased Oversight of the Pasadena Police. He's been involved with Amnesty International for over 4 decades, and in 2019 was recognized by them as the Urgent Action Letter Writer of the Year. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you all very much. First and foremost, I'm humbled to share the stage with people who are much smarter and better than I am. However, I want to address the picture of Julian Assange that is presented ad nauseum to the world, and it's not a pretty picture. As I'm reaching out to my good friends and family in the progressive community for their input and attendance at this very event, more often than not, I was met with utter disdain. And women who I know and respect that I work with on progressive causes many times would ask me, why would I defend this rapist? Julian Assange has been vilified not only as a rapist, but a misogynist, a racist, both an anti-Semite and a Nazi. He's been accused of costing Hillary Clinton the election, of being in cahoots with Trump and Russia. He's been presented as an active part of the right-wing wave of white supremacists and the left-wing wave of anarchists. He's even been accused of kidnapping the Lindbergh baby. The last one. Caitlin Johnson, in defense of Julian Assange, which is an excellent book and you should all get and read, says in her introduction, have you ever noticed how whenever someone inconveniences the dominant Western power structure, the entire political social media class rapidly becomes very interested in telling us what an evil and disgusting that person is, how evil and disgusting they are. Now, I would like to directly address what I believe is the most damaging accusation Julian faces, and that is that he is a rapist. Not just a rapist, but a coward who ran from the charges and been hiding out to prevent a just hearing of those accusations. I gotta tell you truthfully that I was appalled when I heard this. I have a mother, I have a wife, a sister, female relatives, and I know they face misogyny, abuse, and completely reprehensible behavior by men of all stripes on an ongoing basis with impunity. The story offered by the mainstream press was simple. Julian had forced himself on and raped 2 women, and then he fled to Sweden, and then he refused to return or answer any question, fled from Sweden, and refused to answer any questions of these serious accusations. However, as I looked into the facts, I found a full decade later that this still remains only an allegation, not a charge. One that Julian has denied without being given a chance to defend himself in a court of law. Just imagine yourselves being accused of rape for 9.5 years by an entire state apparatus, by an entire world media, without being given the chance to defend yourself. In point of fact, these charges have been dropped not once, but twice for lack of cause. I'll get to that in a moment. The fact that Julian had consensual sex with 2 women in August 2010 has been agreed to by all parties, including the 2 women in question. In the end, all that one of the individuals wanted was to compel Julian to take an HIV test. When she was told that Julian was to be charged with rape, actually minor rape in Sweden, which is a different charge altogether, she, according to authorities and her own testimony, she was appalled. Rape was something that she categorically denied. Her original testimony was that a rape never had taken place at all. However, her testimony was later changed by the Stockholm police without her involvement, consent, or signature in order to somehow make it appear as if a rape had taken place. Perhaps there was a reason. These charges arose just about 4 weeks after the WikiLeaks collateral murder tape that we just saw. The release of this video exposed a wanton war crime perpetrated by our government in Iraq, the U.S. government, a war crime that the U.S. was doing its damnedest to cover up. The very same government that offered us the lie of the weapons of mass destruction, which has led to our current quagmires in the Middle East, was pressuring the Swedish authorities to move forward with rape allegations which neither of the individuals involved to have said to have happened. Is anyone in this audience surprised that they did so to obscure their own war crimes that WikiLeaks had just shared with the world? Here are the facts. On August 10th, an arrest warrant was issued, but senior Swedish prosecutor Eva Finn quashed the charges and dropped them 5 days later, stating that they showed no evidence of a crime at all. The truth is that Julian Assange never ran from these charges either. In fact, he presented himself to Swedish authorities numerous times to provide his defense, but was stonewalled each time. Then, when he planned to travel to the UK, he contacted the Swedish authorities to seek and was granted their permission to go. Now, since we're short on time, I'm going to truncate this. A clear understanding of the facts shows that Julian Assange was not running from justice, but was escaping from injustice inflicted by the most powerful nation in the world, a nation that had just been embarrassed by his revelations of war crimes, and that they wished never to see the light of day. Their intent was to punish Julian Assange mercilessly, was by design a very clear message to other whistleblowers: the fate that awaits you if you stand against the imperialist juggernaut that is the United States and its cohorts. Allegations of rape must be thoroughly investigated, and those found guilty must face justice. However, Julian was not investigated, but rather targeted. And the facts of the case were not to the liking of the US State Department. They were simply fabricated, and Swedish authorities and Interpol were pressured to pursue a case without willing victims, without evidence, and wholly without merit. WikiLeaks and courageous individuals like Julian Assange present an existential threat to the political elite in all governments because they publish information we have a right to know. But governments wish to hide from us, not for state security, but simply to cover up their own corruption and crimes. They will do whatever it takes to prevent that from happening, including destroying the lives of those who stand up against them. Julian is one of those lives that is being destroyed at this very moment. To quote Jesselyn Resnick from a defense of Julian Assange, how we treat journalists, sources, activists, dissidents in the future. If Julian Assange and WikiLeaks are criminally prosecuted, the New York Times and its reporters are equally vulnerable. I will close. The late Michael Ratner says in one of the very first pages of The Defense of Julian Assange, never doubt the mendacity and cruelty of the state. It will make pariahs out of those who will one day be recognized as heroes. That, unfortunately, is the case Julian Assange faces today. Thank you very much.